'cause you sure ain't done it this way.
Ever wonder why every outlaw ballad seems to leave a hidden verse unsung, a line whispered only after the amps go silent? Today we roll the back doors of the tour buses open and let the hush tumble out into the neon. Forget press kit fairy tales. The measurements that mattered most on the road were taken in grins, raised brows, and stories swapped over warm beer at 3 a.m. Some legends were weighed in platinum records, some in outlaw arrests, but the juiciest math was done behind motel curtains, where truth and bragging rights played poker till sunrise. Bouncers, backup singers, and the occasional bartender still swear those pots ran hard, and nobody folded early. So saddle up, we're tracing the rumors that stretched from dusty honky tonks to bedroom walls, measuring myth where tape measures dared not go. Conway Twitty crooned about tight-fitting jeans, but backstage the gossip said the fabric around him did most of the tight wiring. Studio assistants from Nashville to Vegas claim his changing room mirror fogged up faster than his gold records, and a lingering herd of groupies called him the Velvet Bulldozer for reasons that never made print. A former Grand Ole Opry stagehand remembers Conway tuning his voice while 3 wardrobe girls argued over which seamstress could tame the trousers, each swearing she carried heavier-duty thread. Even rivals who loved to trash talk admitted Twitty's charisma carried a gravitational pull, and more than one tour manager blamed him for broken zippers, delayed sound checks, and sudden backstage evacuations that smelled faintly of cheap perfume and bad alibis. When the curtains finally rose, the crowd heard honey, but rumor swore the hive stayed busy long after the encore. Then came Johnny Cash, the man in black whose quiet boom made amplifiers seem shy. June Carter's playful stage banter, hinting that gravity tilted whenever Johnny walked by, was met with coy smirks from bandmates who'd already christened the tour bus the Black Train for more than its paint job. Between courthouse gigs and coke crashes, Cash glided through hotel corridors like a preacher carrying forbidden scripture. Doormen swore the hymn book was unabridged. On one infamous night outside Folsom, a prison guard allegedly bet half a paycheck he could out-sing Johnny to win a peek at the so-called Thunder Scroll. The guard lost. The legend grew, and Cash walked away humming a gospel tune about mercy for sinners. No one wrote that verse down, but it still rattles around in locker room lore where reverb, rust, and respect share the same echo. Kristofferson parachuted from military choppers into songwriting circles, and his glide path never lacked altitude. Rhodes Scholar by diploma, Roadhouse philosopher by choice, Chris wrote love stories that sounded like whiskey thinking out loud, yet gossip claimed the real thesis was written below the belt. An Arkansas lighting tech recalls a night when Kristofferson landed his helicopter on Johnny's lawn, strolled out with nothing but a guitar and a grin, and June allegedly muttered, "That isn't just confidence, it's cargo." Whether the line was real or studio myth, crew members swore the chopper's rotor wasn't the only thing slicing air. Chris shrugged, strummed, and delivered demo tapes so raw they smelled like cedar and sweat, leaving women, bartenders, and one speechless senator wondering which verses were metaphors and which were field reports. If Chris flew in, Waylon Jennings thundered through like a freight train that refused to break. The bad boy baritone packed arenas and, according to giggling makeup artists, allegedly packed denim the way road crews pack amplifiers, tight, heavy, and impossible to misplace. Waylon's custom jeans were rumored to arrive with disclaimers, and tailors whispered about double-stitched inseams billed under safety equipment. During a dimly lit studio session, a steel guitar player joked he'd found the real reason for outlaw country's rebel swing. Gravity worked harder around Jennings. Even after he wrestled free of the coke habit that nearly muted him, the rebel rep stayed loud, spreading through CB radios, truck stop diners, and late-night DJ confessionals that treated his legend like a roadside attraction too wild for daylight family tours. Merle Haggard graduated from San Quentin into stardom, carrying scars that rhymed with freedom and rumors that refused parole. On the tour bus dubbed the Hag Wagon, bunk curtains were rumored to billow like sails in rough water whenever Merle climbed in, prompting one nervous roadie to nickname his berth the Boomtown Tent. Tales claim that after a raucous California show, Merle autographed a fan's plaster cast with a Sharpie, then signed her whispered dare with a wink that left the whole crew blushing. Whether the story's true or roadie poetry, Haggard's outlaw aura thrived on half-truths bigger than bar tabs, and every cigarette burned down to a new verse in the campfire gospel of what a man can grow once you stop measuring by inches and start measuring by impact. David Allen Coe never worried about polite company, so polite company quit worrying about him. He released underground albums too rowdy for daylight radio, stuffed with brag lines that would scorch censors. Some called it bluff, others recalled locker room previews that convinced even skeptics to buy wider lenses. During one infamous Florida after-party, Coe reportedly bet a group of bikers he could balance his sixth string on something other than his knee. The wager ended in thunderous applause and a broken mic stand, though nobody remembers hearing a single chord. Coe walked away laughing. The bikers walked away questioning physics, and the rumor mill spun faster than his prison escape yarns. Love him or loathe him, the man never undersold a chorus or a punchline. Mickey Gilley turned a Pasadena honky-tonk into urban cowboy ground zero, and the mirror ball ceiling wasn't the only thing reflecting scandal. Bartenders claimed that when Mickey hit the stage, his piano bench sat a few inches farther back than standard, a spatial adjustment he never explained. Fan letters arrived scented, star-stickered, and filled with measurements scrawled in lipstick like unsolicited sheet music. Years later, Gilley shrugged in interviews, saying he couldn't stop a rumor any more than he could stop line dancers from two-stepping off beat. Photographers, meanwhile, quietly fought for low angles, and one camera operator admitted the telephoto turned shy when Mickey leaned in for blue-eyed close-ups, as though even glass got flustered. Buck Owens wore that Bakersfield sparkle like a friendly dare, but stagehands swore the real chrome was under the rhinestones. Off-camera, Buck ruled rehearsals with drill sergeant precision, yet rumors said he partied with a grin that knocked tempo out of any metronome. One hee-haw dancer recalled a prank where the prop cornfield's paper ears were swapped for tape measurers dangling at suggestive heights. Buck walked through, never missed a punchline, and left every giddy extra believing the inside joke was based on documented evidence. By sunrise, the cornfield props were gone, the rumor was bigger, and the television censors wondered how much of the laughter viewers would ever decode. Jerry Lee Lewis threw pianos into infernos for breakfast and scandals into headlines for dessert. The man married his teenage cousin, survived tabloid exile, and still strutted back on stage with a grin that looked like it could break furniture and sometimes did. Musicians whispered that every time Jerry kicked the piano bench, he was making room for thunder. One Memphis club owner alleges that an old upright once sagged in the middle after a Lewis encore, though no hammer had touched the keys. Whether physics or legend, the killer's reputation crackled louder than his ivory firestorms, proof that some stories play in frequencies only night owls can hear. Billy Joe Shaver wrote truth in blood, bone, and bar tabs, carving lyrics that felt like fence wire tugged through a jukebox. Those scars ran deep, but rumor claimed another frontier ran deeper. Fellow outlaws joked that Billy kept a third microphone holstered, and the story followed him from honky tonks to courtrooms. After he shot a man outside a Waco saloon, only for a jury to shake his hand, reporters asked about repentance. Billy tipped his cowboy hat and said all he regretted was missing half the show, leaving journalists to wonder how much was sermon and how much was swagger. Whether shooting iron or shooting innuendo, Shaver never missed the target. Jerry Reed finger-picked lightning and laughed like a jukebox prankster, but co-stars on Smokey and the Bandit whispered about on-set horseplay that never made the gag real. One stunt driver claimed Reed could crack a joke, a grin, and maybe a zipper faster than Burt Reynolds could floor the Trans Am. The crew's unofficial code phrase for sudden wardrobe adjustments was eastbound and down, and every time it came over the walkie-talkies, The makeup trailer allegedly erupted in blushes not caused by rouge. Reed, ever the comic, just tipped his cap and asked for another take, letting rumor draft its own punchlines. Glen Campbell might have been the rhinestone cowboy, but plenty swore the sparkle wasn't limited to his jacket. Between chart toppers and coke spirals, Glen carved solos that shimmered like desert heat, yet the press clung to whispers about hotel elevators stalled mid-floor because the rider limit misjudged its passenger. One biographer wrote that Glen possessed an instrument for every octave, slipping the line past editors who either didn't catch the innuendo or chose not to fight it. Campbell later joked that if rumors sold tickets, he owed gossip writers a royalty check. Judging by sold-out arenas, the man paid that debt in applause. Hank Williams Jr. survived a mountainside tumble that shattered his face, then rebuilt both bone and legend until arenas shook like Ozark thunder. Recovery left scars. Rumor insisted it left little else untouched. Roadies claimed that during soundcheck, Hank joked about adding a new instrument to the mix, one that only played rowdy keys. The comment made engineers spit coffee, and a photographer nearly dropped a lens. Fans chalked it up to vociferous bravado, but whispers of backstage bravado kept merch lines buzzing with double entendres long after the final encore faded. Willie Nelson draped the nation in cannabis smoke and guitar strings that smelled like campfire soot. Yet his real superpower might have been stamina, in song, in touring, and, if ex-wives are to be believed, in longer-running arenas. One divorce deposition allegedly included the phrase extended encore, a legal euphemism sure to make any copy editor blush. Meanwhile, a legendary poker game at Willie's Luck Ranch reportedly paused when a startled rooster escaped the coop and dashed under the table, prompting Waylon to quip that even farm animals sought shade from that much shadow. Willie's chuckle rolled like tumbleweed, and the hand resumed. Rumor jackpot doubled. Tom Paul Glaser kept quieter outlaw hours, the kind where a man's myth grows in the hush between verses. He preferred letting his studio, Hillbilly Central, speak for him, but jawjackers in Music Row cafes said Tom Paul's reticence masked a reputation that raised eyebrows higher than accounting ledgers. One visiting sax player swore the reason studio chairs were oversized was not for comfort but for logistics. Glaser never confirmed, never denied. He merely poured another bourbon, adjusted the reverb, and let rumors solo over the bridge. Sometimes silence makes the loudest brag. Stack these yarns end to end, and they read like a tall tale anthology stitched from velvet, denim, and dust. Measurement, after all, is a slippery sport. Legends swell in smoky rooms where memories melt into metaphor and every witness adds an inch between sips. Did all those backstage silhouettes truly cast the shadows fans imagine? Maybe, maybe not. But in country music, myth often sells better than fact, and the juke joints that birthed these stories never demanded sworn affidavits, only another quarter in the slot. Even skeptics end up humming along because denial is no match for a chorus stuck in your head. Still, there's substance behind the showmanship. These men toured non-stop, living out of suitcases and spotlights, where ego grows steroid strong or snaps under glare. Whispers about endowments became armor, a way to walk taller when critics circled like vultures. Road fatigue, busted marriages, rehab stints. Those scars hurt less when an outrageous rumor offered comic relief. Each tale functioned like currency, traded for respect, envy, or a free round of shots at closing time. In that sense, the myth became part of the music itself, a backbeat of bravado thumping beneath every ballad and barroom anthem. So next time you nod along to a dusty vinyl spin or stream a rebel anthem on your midnight drive, remember there might be an unrated footnote humming beneath the melody. The guitars twang, the fiddles cry, but between those notes lurk campfire brags too outrageous for liner notes. Drop your favorite whispered tale in the comments. Did Waylon really need a separate suitcase for denim, or was Willie's poker table story just Texas tall talk? Hit that subscribe saddle if you crave more off-record country confessions, because our next ride digs into outlaw feuds fueled by busted amps, broken hearts, and barroom darts that nearly rewrote chart history. Rumors ignite like dry sage on the trail because this music rolled long before hashtags tracked every mile. A drummer tells a bawdy joke in Fort Worth, a fiddle tech adds 2 adjectives in Amarillo, and by sunrise in Tulsa the story wears spurs. Local radio repeats the yarn with a wink, fans retell it over diner coffee, and by the next show the singer's grin says he's heard the latest draft. Nobody files corrections. Mischief sells as many tickets as melody. The outlaw code is simple. If a tale makes people cheer louder, you let it ride. So the myths gallop from state line to state line, hoofbeats blurring detail into legend, until even the performer can't recall where fact ended and folklore took the reins. But there's another layer to these whispered measurements: vulnerability. Behind every towering tall tale stood a man who knew critics tracked chart positions, sobriety slips, and aging vocal cords. The outlaw uniform, leather vest, road dust, fast talk hid insecurities about relevance in a fickle industry. A well-timed rumor that you're packing confidence personified can drown out column inches about your latest divorce or a set cut short by laryngitis. When Glen Campbell's Coke crashes threatened to paint him as a cautionary tale, the elevator story offered fans a naughty chuckle instead of a pity sigh. When David Allen Coe's explicit records barred him from polite playlists, legends of unprintable stunts kept his name bouncing through tavern neon. Myths act like stage lights, strategically blinding, mercifully warm, and more flattering than daylight reality. Even Johnny Cash, immortal as his boom, admitted that shame and swagger often tangled like twin snakes. When one sank fangs, the other swallowed the pain. Thus, the backstage exaggeration served as both armor and antidote, a reminder that in America's storytelling heartland, you survive by owning your narrative, even if you have to stretch it like a dobro string until it twangs. Now, critics might argue that amplifying such braggadocio props up outdated macho myths, but folklore isn't a museum artifact. It's a living critter that molts with each generation. Today's fans stream these outlaw anthems while tweeting jokes that remix the old rumors into memes, swapping denim for emoji, yet keeping the wink intact. Meanwhile, historians sift studio logs hunting for proof, and feminist scholars debate whether these stories empowered or objectified. The answer, inconveniently, is both. They gave performers a shield against vulnerability, even while trapping them in caricature. But context matters. Country music of the 60s and 70s was a wild frontier where the line between scandal and marketing was thinner than a guitar pick. Musicians hustled survival one ticket at a time, and if cheeky mythology bought a few more full houses, nobody on that payroll hollered for fact-checking. Legends travel farther when the map is folded by rumor instead of ruled lines and whispers. That blur is exactly why these stories endure. When a song finishes, silence rushes in like a cold draft, and silence is where insecurity dwells. Legends chase it away. Maybe Conway's tailor never used titanium thread, maybe Waylon's custom jeans were just marketing swagger, and maybe Willie's poker shadow only stretched that far because the porch light flickered. But the maybes keep us listening. We replay the albums, searching for hidden proof in every growl or guitar bend. Even skeptics lean forward, waiting for a lyrical wink. Truth, stripped of exaggeration, would feel smaller than the neon dream these artists sold us. So believe what thrills you, disbelieve what doesn't. Either way, the hook is set, and the melody you hum on your walk to work has already won the argument. Because folklore isn't measured in inches or charts. It's measured in how long it truly drums along inside your ribcage afterward.